Hey, it's been a minute, but listen, today I'm going in on four things I wish I knew before quitting my six-figure job. And here's why I'm talking about this today. So, first and foremost, today is my 4-year quitversary, like to the day. On this day, 4 years ago, I walked into my former employer. I walked in those doors for the last time as an employee after a 12-year stint. I started off as an honors intern. I feel like I had about 8 careers within one organization, right? There was such a vast array of experiences that I was afforded before kind of having my own mid-career crisis and my come to Jesus moment all wrapped in one, and went on my own personal purpose journey to figure out like not only who I am in this season, well, that season that I was in, but also like why am I here? Like what is my purpose? And so today is super special, and I will shout it from the mountaintops every time, every year that passes that I live to see this day, that I am still gainfully um, a full-time entrepreneur. Like I don't take it lightly. This journey has been one for the record books. It's way more than I ever could have thought and or imagined in all of the ways, from the high highs to the low lows. However, with every literally every day I'm learning something new, whether it's about myself or about business, about my business, about my clients, about my target market, about marketing, about all of the things, right, that are required for me to be able to show up powerfully, and also in the same way while managing my mental health as I am growing my coaching business. So I thought it would be opportune for me to come and share on this particular video, like four things that I wish I knew before quitting my job. There's only one person that I knew who had done something similar, or really the exact same thing prior to me. It was one of my good girlfriends, and she had taken the leap a couple years before me and like went on her whole eat, pray, love journey, traveled all over the world, and was just super unapologetic about getting her swagger back, living her best life like on her terms and not settling for anything less than what she wanted. So seeing her do it, I guess it may have planted a seed of possibility, although it wasn't something that I saw her do and had this thought about, oh, I want to do it too. I honestly did not know that my journey would come to what it has been with me actually taking the leap, stepping away from my six-figure, government career and salary, um, and leaping into full-time entrepreneurship. If I had to take a guess back then, I would have assumed that it would have been more aligned with me building and growing a business in tandem with managing and navigating my federal career, right? So knowing what it has been, and knowing that I am still here, I count it a blessing. I don't take it lightly at all. And so if you are thinking about it, if you are considering it, right? If maybe you've been listening to me for some time, and maybe I have, been watering seeds that have been planted, that have gotten you thinking about what's possible. Pull up a seat, like lean in. I'm going to share four things that have been instrumental, like aha moments for me on this journey. Also stick around, right? I have something that I'm going to be offering you today, or inviting you into, like a celebration of my 4-year quitversary. I'm doing a little something. So I'm not sure where you follow me, where you're watching this, right? But at this time in May of 2023, I am offering a taste of coaching. Why? Because I deem it super, super, super important for all high performers, high achieving professionals to experience coaching in some way, shape, or form. Like, I think it is the life hack of all life hacks, pun intended. And I don't think that my community and the spaces that I take up, for those that are not coaches, right? I don't feel that there is a widespread awareness of just how powerful coaching is and how impactful it can be on our journeys. And so I'm doing my part as a coach as someone whose life has been transformed as a result of coaching, not just as a coach, but also as a client, right? The beginnings of my journey started with me hiring my very first life coach. And so I don't just talk the talk, like I walk the walk. So I know firsthand what it's like to be on the other side of the conversation as the client. So I'm able to empathize and relate to my clients coming to the table feeling vulnerable, not feeling as though they don't have a safe space to share their big lofty dreams, or maybe even a desire to leave a well-paying, secure job or career that most people would, probably give away their firstborn in exchange for that good job with that good salary that affords them this cushy lifestyle, right? But I get it. I get it. And I career professional period who is in this space of trying to figure this thing out, right? You've developed this wealth of expertise and not quite sure that you want to do it anymore. And it's almost leaning towards the fact of I don't want to do this anymore. I want to do something else that's different. I have no idea what I can do, what I want to do. Or maybe you do have an idea of what you want to do, but you have no idea how to go about doing it, right? There's like there's the lack of clarity on the thing that you want to do, or if the what is somewhat clear, there's the lack of clarity on the how. And I want you to know that you are in the perfect space um, to enlist the right help, the right non-judgmental support and accountability to help you figure this thing out, right? So that being said, I'm offering a taste of coaching in acknowledgement and celebration of my 4-year quit versary. And so what does that mean? That means that I am allowing you to work with me for just a slither of the amount of time that I typically require my clients to work with me, because I know what works the best for the transformation that I support my clients in getting. However, what I also know is that sometimes people, high achievers, won't try things if we aren't sure or maybe even aware of just how powerful and effective the resource or the thing might be, right? So I'm opening up the doors to let you step into my world, to focus on some objective, something that you want to overcome, right? Something that's been weighing you down, something that you've been trying to figure out by yourself. And we're going to work together over the course of 30 days to help you begin to scale that wall, right? And move forward tenaciously and unapologetically in the direction of where it is that you really, really, really want to go. And so it's a taste of coaching. It's a 30-day engagement. I'll share a little bit more near the end. If you're interested, you can click the link in the caption of this video, wherever you may be watching it. But I'll give a little bit more detail at the end of this video after I give my four things I wish I knew before I quit my job. Um, I'll give you a little bit more detail about the inner workings of it in just a few. So if you happen to be new to me, however you came across this video, I'm glad you're here. It's not by happenstance, right? I'm Danielle, the coach. I'm a certified life and leadership coach, and I help mid-career professionals free themselves from their 9 to 5 without regret, right? And most times they are freeing themselves or desiring to free themselves in pursuit of full-time entrepreneurship, right? That's what most of my clients are looking to do. They're looking to transition into full-time entrepreneurship. I do have some that are looking for a different career, and I do support them in that as well. And sometimes that different career or a different job is the beginnings of their exit strategy to take them where they ultimately want to be at some point in the future, right? Totally removed from the 9 to 5. So that's what I do, and that's who I do it for, right? So if you are here with me live, do me a favor and say hey, drop an emoji, do something, say hey D, just so that I know that you're here. Hopefully I can see your comments on while I'm live. If not, I'll always come back and show you some love. So thank you for being here. If you know somebody that you think would benefit from hearing what I'm sharing, I want to invite you to tag them in this, share this with them. Um, hey, share the wealth. The more, the absolute, the merrier. So that aside, here are the four things I wish I knew before quitting my job. One, I wish I knew that corporate residue is a real thing, right? And what I mean by corporate residue, I mean the conditioning that we develop as a result of having to show up and navigate um, and climb the ranks in the corporate world, right? Whether it's public or private industry, there's just a certain essence to showing up and being successful in those spaces, right? And so it affects the way you think, the way you see the world, the way you carry yourself, the standards that you hold yourself to, especially for my high achievers and my go-getters, right? Um, there is a certain expectation you have around a lot of things in your life, from your schedule, right, to your income, to your paydays, to the hours that you work, to what it means to be putting in extra hours, right? How you do your work, right? How you manage your work, how you manage yourself. And so a lot of those things, right? They are relevant because we're conditioned or allow ourselves to be conditioned when we are gainfully employed, right? But when you step outside of somebody else's organization and you become the CEO of you and your business, you'd be surprised how much of those mannerisms you may still embody and how much of those mannerisms you may still um, take on as the gospel according to how to be a professional, right? And run business and manage business. Now, don't get me wrong, all of all of the things are not bad, right? I won't say that any of them are bad. I'll just say that there are some that serve us well while we are gainfully employed, and there are some that not so much. They probably do us a disservice on the back end. Um, Another part of corporate residue is the burnout that we experience. And I know that most of my clients, most of the people who are interested in working with me that actually become clients, right? We have a strategy session and learning more about what they have going on. And what I come to find out is that they're burnt out, right? They're just overworked, for sure underpaid. I don't care what sector or industry that you're in or how much money you are making, overworked and underpaid, like frustrated, likely working in a toxic work environment, just tired of the nonsense, right? Just want to show up, do your job, do a great job, be well compensated for it, right? And work in an experience like psychological safety in the workplace. And a lot of times when we can't do that, when there is not psychological safety, it requires so much it requires us to put on so much armor to even prepare ourselves to walk into somebody's organization just to do a job, right? I don't care what the job is, it's a job, right? We are walking into somebody's organization, check a box in exchange for pay. Like that's what it is, pay for a service. And we glamorize it and put all these other wrappers and titles on it, but that's what it is, right? A service in exchange for pay. But knowing that, and when it begins to require so much more, to even just be able to show up and just do that, it's taxing. And I use the analogy of like armor, but and I'll keep going with that same line of thought, right? The armor, it becomes heavy. It literally becomes heavy. It's hard to get out of bed. You're dragging, to get yourself there. Like you don't want to be there. You're constantly trying to psych yourself in and hype yourself up so that you can do your job, right? Keep your job until you have your exit strategy in place, or you have a plan B that you can tap into and let that go. There's all of this stuff going on, and it can absolutely weigh you down, right? That burnout piece is real. And in all honesty, I believe that I experienced some type of corporate like PTSD after leaving, right? Um, where I would be triggered by certain things in business that kind of had the same flavor or feel of like the 9 to 5 life. And I didn't realize it in the moment when it was happening. However, it honestly was about 3 years. 3 years in, I finally felt like my whole self again in my business, right? But without the corporate cloud and that corporate residue still kind of like showing up. And so I know that like I was intentional about wanting to work from anywhere, wanted to work remote, wanted to, manage my schedule, not take on too much. And I couldn't figure out for the life of me like what was going on, like why like I have to work in order to pay this mortgage and these bills. So why am I not running, like jumping at the bit for certain opportunities? And what I now am able to see now that I'm on the other side of it, it was because I subconsciously was afraid of taking on too much and experiencing the burnout that I experienced back in my corporate time, right? In my government time. So I say all that to say, and that's just kind of like the tip of the iceberg, right? When it comes to that. But I just want you to know, like, corporate residue is real. And right, so what do you do with it? Like when you're on the other side of it, when you take the leap, one, brace for impact, right? It can show up and look differently for different people based on what your professional experience was before taking the leap. However, know that if and when it shows up and you see remnants of it, this corporate residue that I'm speaking of, give yourself grace. In case in point for me, right? It's just like I wanted what I wanted when I wanted it. Of course, I wanted to jump out the gate and be uber successful in like 2 months. Shoot, probably the first day, which was, I don't think I was unreasonable for having that expectation as a high achiever, a go getter, and a high performer. However, in the grand scheme of things, knowing where I was in my business and in this industry, it was a bit overzealous, right? I will never knock myself for it. However, I am much better at managing my expectations and I will be doing the same thing for others that I support and mentor and coming into this coaching space as well. Like it just is what it is. Um, but the thing that's super important is to give yourself grace. You just don't know what you don't know, right? And creating this space when you take this leap, it creates opportunity for you to be with yourself and sit with yourself, and kind of see and notice some things that maybe you were moving so fast or too fast prior to when you were still gainfully employed to notice. So that was number one. Number two is I became aware of like how many transferable skills I actually had, right? And how marketable they are in um like on this side of the 9 to 5, right? And so what I mean by that is being in many entrepreneur communities, right, on social media and different groups and just networking and all the things and learning about other people's businesses. What I've learned is that there are so many skills that we possess, especially our expertise for a lot of us from the corporate professional space that are transferable and can be packaged as a service to support other businesses, especially small businesses that are in like their growth stages and can use particular specialized expertise when it comes to different facets of running their business. Case in point, I am a senior business analyst by trade, right? And coming into the entrepreneurship space and kind of hearing others' stories and learning about their business, like I have a trained eye for seeing gaps in business processes, right? I never ever considered um, packaging that expertise up and offering it to other businesses, more or less small businesses, right? I always only thought that that skill was like necessary in like the corporate space. I didn't have like the frame of reference to even create the possibility for me to consider, right? But then once I was immersed in the entrepreneurship world and around other entrepreneurs who have similar or different businesses, and even working in my own business, just seeing like, oh my goodness, like there's so many things to do, there's so many hats to wear, there's so many jobs within um the job of managing and running your business, not only being the CEO, but also being the talent when you're first starting. It's just like there's a wealth of opportunity, right? So something that would have been helpful for me to know is that there's a wealth of opportunity, especially when you are multi-talented and multifaceted. You have a wealth of experience, which most of my clients do by the time they come to me. They have between 1 to 2 decades, and at this point on the upper echelon of almost 2 decades or more of career professional experience. And there's a lot to be said, right? There's a lot to be accounted for, and there's a lot of opportunity and possibility to tap into when looking to figure out, well, what could I do on my own as a full-time entrepreneur, right? But I know one of the things that keeps my entrepreneurs in the 9 to 5 a little bit longer, those that aren't sure about what they want to do, it's like, okay, I may know what my areas of expertise and what my skills are, but what do I love doing, right? And maybe it maybe none of the above. And so I know that's a sticking point that I also serve and support my clients in working through too. So if you fall in that category, listen, I get it. I get it. However, it is food for thought about really how transferable some of these skills and expertise that we amass during our times in the corporate and professional space that really are marketable and transferable and helpful to other businesses, small and large. Um, the third thing, woo Lord, is to mind your money early in the game and your relationship to it. Now, thankfully, I have been a great steward of my finances, right? Especially when I was gainfully employed. I've taken some risks on this side of it, which is ironic. I've taken more financial risk as a full-time entrepreneur than I did when I had the safety and security of a six-figure salary, right? Go figure. But that's part of the definition of entrepreneur, right? Those who are willing to take a whole lot more risk, right, in the name of business. So why I say mind your money is because yes, it's necessary to mind it on the front end, especially when you want to take the leap, because you want to make sure you're clear on like what your financial runway is before you go ahead first into this thing, right? Because you want to know like what are my living expenses? What is required for me to be able to live and sustain myself? Not even sustain my current lifestyle. You need to know that, right? But minimally speaking, what is it required for me to live, to survive, right? How long can I survive based on what I have access to financially, right? But then there's also this part about managing your money, minding your money once you get into this self-employed CEO entrepreneurship world, right? And why I say mind your money, there's a couple of things that I think help support you as an entrepreneur when you're getting started. It's one, positioning yourself to be able to pay yourself as you begin to make money. You're in business to make money. And I know a downfall after talking to many entrepreneurs is, making the money but not being the best steward of it from the standpoint of not just making the money but allocating it in a way that you can pay yourself. Because ultimately, if you're not paying yourself, why? What are you in it for, right? And you can have your own different reasons. You could be in the business to check a different box, right? But most of us, especially those of us who are full time, like we're doing this so that we can experience freedom in more ways than one: time freedom, financial freedom, and minimally speaking, geographic freedom, right? It's affording us the ability to show up in the world in these different ways. And so minding your money early on in your entrepreneurship journey is super important, in addition to, from a bookkeeping perspective, right? Aligning yourself with a trusted bookkeeper, and then also a CPA, right? To help you navigate some of those money conversations and those money questions, and just make sure there's checks and balances. So minimally speaking, you know what you got coming in, you know what you got going out, and you can allocate your money as necessary in order to be able to take care of all of the, like, the financial obligations that we have as if I think everybody watching this is probably in the US as American citizens, right? So there's that part of it, and that can be a whole nother tangent. But one gem that I'll drop there when it comes to minding your money is, if you're starting out, matter of fact, it doesn't even matter if you're just starting out, wherever you are on your business journey, a good book that I highly recommend is Profit First. Like, if you haven't read it, that, like, now, like, right now, right? I highly recommend that to assist you with doing what I talked about earlier, which is positioning yourself not only to profit but to pay yourself, because you're doing, when you first start off, probably 120% of the work, right? And so, yeah, you need, cushion in your business, right? Operating expenses, but you also want to position yourself to be profitable out the gate, as well as being able to pay yourself, so you can pay your bills, right? And kind of and widen that financial runway that I mentioned earlier. So yeah, profit first, like, for the win. And if you read it, do me a favor and shoot me a message and let me know what you think. Last but not least, something I wish I knew was that how much marketing and networking were bae, right? BAE, bae. Listen, marketing, and especially as an introvert, right? So, okay, you may not mean anything to be an introvert and market. Anybody can market, but it's different when you're the brand, right? Marketing, digital marketing as a personal brand is different, because I am the face of my brand, right? And it's super important. And early on, it was super uncomfortable for me to even pre-record a video and post it, right? And here, look at me now. I'm going live in 3, 4 different places at one time, as a digital marketer. But like marketing, and the interworkings of marketing, from a copy and messaging, and marketing from knowing your target audience, right? And kind of staying abreast of, what ways those that you like, that your ideal client love to engage with your content in certain ways that you show up. Like, it's a whole big glob of data, and if you pay attention, and you kind of like just commit to developing a relationship with marketing and just doing the thing, um it's such a game changer. And not just doing it, but finding your sweet spot and doing it well. um yeah, the marketing has been a game changer, and I knew it was something that I wasn't as versed as I thought on, even though I was kind of doing it to a degree in my full-time job, but that wasn't the focus of my work. I wasn't a marketer by profession, but marketing was required in order for me to have some of the success that I saw with some of the projects that I managed. Um, but now that I understand marketing as a full-time entrepreneur, I understand. I'm able to look back and see, like, oh, I've been marketing, right? This is just at a different level, on a different scale. So again, you see what I mean about those transferable skills. You just never know when and where they're going to show up. But marketing has been like, listen, can't live without it. There's no way of getting around it. And then also being able to put myself on Front Street, right? In my market, as a part of my marketing strategy. It was a necessary evil that I've now adopted, and it's just like second nature now. I post and go. I do what I gotta do, send the email, right? And it's just like, it's a it has to be done, right? Thankfully, I've outgrown the discomfort and the dis-ease that I once felt early on, but it's a part of the growth and maturation process, right? And I'm 4 years in, 4 years in. And that's it seems like a little bit of time, but it's also a very long time, a very long time to be doing this by God's grace. I'm still here. I'm still here, glowing and growing in all the ways. So I'm super thankful for this journey. I'm super thankful for everybody. When I talked about the networking, right? Networking is also big. The people that I have met, the amazing souls that I've met on this journey, other entrepreneurs, right? Those who I've adopted, leaned on for mentorship, leaned on for accountability's sake, leaned on for insights and their individualized expertise have made me all the better. I didn't get this far in by myself. I would still be figuring out a lot of things that I figured out and have moved well beyond because I have immersed myself in different communities, right? So that I can not only learn, but I've also been afforded, like the bonus of meeting some amazing people who get it, right? Who are also on this similar journey. So again, marketing and networking are big. Like there's no like getting around that thing. Very necessary. Please let the necessary occur. All right. So those are my four. I'm not sure where you hopped on if you've been watching the video from the beginning, but if you missed any of them, definitely go back and watch. So you can hear all four of the things. And I'm pretty sure I know for a fact there's way more things that I wish I knew before I quit. I wouldn't say that they would change my decision at all. It just might have changed um, my strategy and how I moved and when I moved in some different ways, right? But hindsight is 2020. And in all honesty, I am really glad that there are some things that I did not know prior to taking the leap because I probably would still be gainfully employed. I probably wouldn't have taken the leap. In best case, I wouldn't have taken it as soon as I did. So I'm thankful for only knowing enough, maybe seeing the first couple of steps, maybe even just the first step, right? I mean, but also tapping into my faith and leaning into that and just doing it. So I promise to let you know more about the taste of coaching that I'm currently offering at the time of this recording, which is May 2023. Um, this offer was only going to be alive and well for just a couple of days because we're on the brink of my favorite month of the year, which is June. I'm a June baby. And so June is my birthday month. So I have, as a full-time entrepreneur, I am designing my June and as the most fabulous version of myself to be able to work how I want to work, right? But I also want to be able to share the power of coaching with you, right? Especially if it's something that you've been thinking about, you've been kind of like doing that double Dutch rock, one foot in, one foot out, haven't really taken the leap, haven't booked a strategy session, you've been watching my videos, consuming all of this content, you've been plotting, putting together your exit strategy, kind of talking to your inner circle about it, maybe just talking to God about it, talking to yourself about it, because you can't talk to them because they just don't understand and you're overwhelmed, right? The job is getting on your nerves. You want to go, but you're scared. Um, you are really getting to the point where you recognize that it may be playing it may be affecting like your health and what other things that you got going on. It's all becoming too much, right? Possibly. You may be curious about coaching, right? But it's okay to be curious. But in order for this to be beneficial for you, I need for you to have a burning desire to experience some type of shift, some type of change, right? You are no longer comfortable with where you are. There is a different version of yourself that you want to experience. There is a different place that you want to be, or different places that you want to be. And my goal always with in service of my coaching clients is to support you in getting from where you are to where you want to be. If where you are right now isn't doing it for you anymore, it's no longer serving you, and like something's got to give, something's got to change, Like, let's lean into that curiosity that you have, like, and let's see what's possible. So that being said, I'm inviting you to work with me for 30 days. 30 days. My clients minimally work with me for 90 days, right? And I actually I've never offered this in this way, right? It's just a slither of the experience, which is still positioning you to have some transformation and to shift out of where you are. So much can change in a conversation with me, right? In a single conversation with me. 60 minutes, 90 minutes or less. Like, I am amazing at what I do, right? I'm gifted in this. So what I don't want you to do is I don't want you to look at the 30 days and say, "Oh, that's not enough time." It is if you commit to the process. It is if you show up for yourself and you do the work, right? It is if you say yes to you and invest in yourself, right? And know that you're not figuring this thing out by yourself. You have me here, right? It's one thing if you're out there alone figuring it out by yourself, then okay, yes, be overwhelmed, be confused because you're doing it in your own might. Now, when you enlist the right support and accountability, it changes the game, right? So if you know that you know that you know that this is something that, you know what, she's speaking to my soul, right? She's typically speaking to my soul, even if it's not just this video. Um, I've been thinking about it. Maybe you've made assumptions about what it costs to work with me. And no, I'm not cheap, right? And I'm unapologetic about that as well. Because I know the value of the work that I do and the power of the transformation, like you really can't put a price on it. You really can't put a price on it. And to be honest with you, some of my mentors even tell me like I'm still underpriced. It is what it is. Like I'm there's a part of me that does things my way. And so here we are, right? So that being said, what you would be afforded the opportunity to with the invitation I'm making to you is to work with me for 30 days. We'll have a clarity call, right? To kickstart your journey. The clarity call will take place next week. And it's a must that they take place next week because what the account of the additional thing that you're going to get is 30 days of coaching and accountability. So I typically host bi-weekly accountability calls for my clients, whether they're private clients or clients that only want the accountability. And so the first accountability call is going to start the first week of June. So what that means is we need your clarity call to happen next week. So like I said, this offer is not going to last but for a few days because we got to get you onboarded and scheduled for your clarity call to happen next week. There's not but so many hours available next week, so that should be a clue that there's not but so many spaces available for this particular opportunity. And so you may be asking, okay, well, what does it cost? What is the investment? So because it's a taste of coaching, it'll be a sample size investment. So this particular investment is 1044, $1,044. Yes, I had to throw the fours in there since this is my 4-year quit bursary. But working with me for 30 days and you get the private clarity call, and then you get we'll have bi-weekly group coaching calls, and there is accountability baked into the time that we have together. So it's the end of May 2023 now, right? By the time we finish working, we work together through the end of June. And who knows what your life might look like come July 1st, right? After really taking some time to do something different, but with the right support and accountability. I dropped the link in the caption of the video. Wherever you are watching it, the link is there for you to take advantage of it. So yeah, listen, I'm inviting you to a taste of coaching. I think all high performers, high achievers need a life coach. It may be considered a luxury to some, but I think it's a necessity. In all honesty, you do so much, right? You're in charge of so much. You're responsible for so much, and quite honestly, you need a you for you. You need a you for you. And if I have it my way, I am going to make life coaching as much of a household term as therapy now is, especially in my community, right? It's a thing and it's very necessary. So that's all I got. If you have been here with me the whole time, thank you. I appreciate you. If you're here with me live, do me a favor and say, hey, D. I see a couple of people, hey, 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 in the comments. And if you happen to catch the replay, do me a favor and drop replay in the comments so I know that you watched the replay. Or you can say, hey, D as well, and I'll come back through and show you some love. I will see you in the next video. If you're in a celebratory mood, do a little celebrating. For me, 4 years is a big deal in this full-time entrepreneurship world. So even if I have to celebrate myself, I'm gonna do that. So I'm off to go celebrate, and I'll see you in the next video. And tag somebody and share this if there's someone you know that needs to hear this. I'll see you later.